Deep beneath the world, a massive set of stone doors stands silent in the darkness. Bam runs toward the closing portal, reaching out for the light of his only friend. As the doors slam shut, the boy finds himself standing in an impossibly vast empty hall. From the shadows, a tall, spindly creature with a white mask and long staff emerges. Hedon looks down at the boy and explains that the tower only welcomes those who seek greatness. To proceed, Bam is told he must face a giant white-armored eel lurking in a massive cage. Suddenly, a violent explosion of energy ripples through the air as a girl in red falls from the sky. Yuri Jihad demands to know what an Irregular is doing in such a lowly place. She notices Bam's golden eyes and realizes he is the one who opened the door himself. Yuri decides to lend Bam a legendary weapon, the Black March, to help him survive the test. The white-armored eel roars as Bam enters the cage, its massive body filling the water. Instead of running, Bam charges forward with the Black March held tightly in his grip. The spirit within the sword awakens, appearing as a golden woman who smiles at Bam's courage. With one powerful strike, the Black March pierces the eel's hide and shatters the test ball. Bam is teleported away, leaving a stunned Yuri and a scheming Hedon behind. He wakes up on the second floor, surrounded by hundreds of other contestants in a vast meadow. A voice booms across the field, announcing that the first test is to reduce the number of regulars by half. Combat erupts instantly as regulars begin to cut each other down in a desperate bid for survival. A boy with light blue hair and a silver briefcase calmly walks through the carnage. A massive red reptilian beast roars, swinging a huge spear at anyone in its path. Bam hides in the tall grass, trying to avoid the notice of the more experienced killers. Khun spots Bam and notices the unusual black weapon he carries. Rak senses the power of the Black March and charges toward Bam, demanding to fight the Black Turtle. The test administrator announces that the next phase requires teams of 3 to be formed immediately. Seeing an opportunity, Khun grabs Bam and forces him into a tactical alliance. Rak is dragged into the group by a technicality, much to his reptilian frustration. The trio moves to the next testing area, a massive indoor arena designed for the crown game. A massive golden throne sits in the center of a circular pit, surrounded by tiered seating. Khun explains that whoever holds the crown until the end of the rounds wins the test. From across the arena, a girl in a yellow tracksuit and a green mask watches Bam intensely. The game begins, and teams clash in a flurry of Shinsu blasts and steel. Khun reveals his briefcase's power, duplicating items and people to confuse his enemies. Rak leaps into the fray, his spear crushing the floor and sending shockwaves through the air. Bam sits on the throne with the crown, his eyes darting around as he waits for the next wave. A team of assassins from the Lopobia family attacks from all sides with animal-like precision. Bam uses the Black March to parry a lethal strike, the blade humming with power. He sees Rachel among the attackers, her face hidden, but her presence unmistakable. In his moment of hesitation, a powerful energy blast strikes the throne. Bam is thrown from the seat, blood trickling down his forehead as the crown falls. A figure in the shadows smiles as the Black March begins to emit a dark, uncontrollable aura. As the crown hits the ground, the Black March lets out a scream that vibrates through the entire floor. The echoes of the Black March's scream finally fade into a heavy, suffocating silence across the arena. Bam grips the hilt tighter as he realizes the tests of the tower are only becoming more lethal. Nearby, Rachel watches from the shadows, her eyes reflecting a mix of envy and desperate desire. The administrator announces the final test of the floor, a dangerous mission titled the Deep Sea Hunt. The goal is simple: protect the person carrying the ball through a Leviathan-infested territory. Bam insists on being the one to protect Rachel, even if it means putting himself in the line of fire. Khun remains silent, his calculating mind already identifying the flaws in this idealistic plan. Deep within the Shinsu-filled waters, the bull waits for its prey to enter the killing zone. As the test begins, Bam plunges into the liquid-like Shinsu with a bubble of light surrounding him. Rachel follows behind in a specialized Shinsu bubble, her face pale with terror. Suddenly the bull strikes, its massive claws tearing through the water with terrifying speed. Bam intercepts the beast, using his inherent control over Shinsu to push it back. The force of the impact sends shockwaves through Bam's body, but he refuses to move. Somewhere in the distance, a mysterious figure in a red robe watches the battle unfold. Bam calls out to Rachel, urging her to keep moving toward the exit gate. Rachel's expression remains unreadable as she stares at Bam's struggling form. The bull lets out a roar that ripples through the very fabric of the Shinsu around them. Bam focuses his energy, forming a powerful Shinsu loop to trap the creature. With a final surge of power, the bull is driven into the abyss, leaving Bam panting for air. He swims back to Rachel's side, believing they have finally won the test. Rachel looks at him, her eyes filling with a strange dark resolve. Bam smiles, telling her that they can finally see the stars together. Without a word, Rachel places her hands against the inner wall of the bubble. She leans forward and whispers a goodbye that Bam cannot hear. With a sudden forceful shove, she pushes Bam backward out of the protective zone. Bam's world spins as he tumbles into the lightless depths of the Shinsu Ocean. He watches Rachel's bubble ascend toward the light, leaving him behind in the cold. Back at the surface, the other regulars celebrate a victory they believe they shared. Khun scans the crowd, his heart sinking as he realizes Bam is nowhere to be found. Rachel emerges from the water, weeping crocodile tears as she tells a lie of Bam's tragic sacrifice. Rak lets out a roar of denial, refusing to believe the black turtle is gone. But at the bottom of the tower's depths, Bam's body hits the silt, unmoving and forgotten. A shadow looms over him, the red-robed figure from before finally revealing itself. "You have been discarded by the light," the voice echoes through the water. "But Fug has a place for those who have lost everything," the figure continues. Bam's eyes flicker open for a brief second, no longer gold, but a hollow, empty black. He is no longer the boy who entered the tower for a friend. The administrator watches from the heights, satisfied that the Irregular has been dealt with. The name 25th Bam is officially erased from the list of living regulars. As he is dragged away into the dark, a new identity begins to form within the shadows of the underworld. The legend of Juviole Grace is born in the blood and betrayal of the deep sea. Years later, a train whistle screams in the distance, signaling a reunion no one is prepared for. The steam from the arriving train fills the station as a figure emerges from the shadows. Juviole Grace moves with a silent, lethal grace that terrifies everyone in his path. Khun stands atop a high balcony, his blue eyes scanning the crowd for any sign of his long-lost friend. A group of Fug agents surrounds Juviole, their weapons drawn as they remind him of his duty as a Slayer candidate. Juviole does not answer, his mind drifting back to the betrayal he suffered at the bottom of the sea. Suddenly, the workshop battle begins with a thunderous roar of machinery. Wraithraiser bursts through a wall, throwing his spear with reckless abandon into the mechanical foes. Within the hidden labs, the workshop scientists prepare their living ignition weapons for activation. Beta, a powerful failed experiment, breaks his chains and prepares to kill any regular he finds. Khun deploys his silver lighthouse, creating a complex barrier of blue energy to protect his team. Juviole leaps into the air, his Shinsu manifesting as powerful black orbs that devastate the mechanical guardians. During the chaos, Khun catches a glimpse of the Slayer candidate's face and freezes in shock. He realizes that the monster Fug created is actually the friend he thought was dead. The battle intensifies as Beta launches a devastating attack that threatens to collapse the entire structure. Juviole moves to intercept the blast, using himself as a shield for the people he once called comrades. Rak recognizes the Shinsu style and shouts Bam's name with all his might. The stoic mask of Juviole Grace finally cracks, revealing the boy who just wanted to be with his friends. Khun joins the fight by his side, proving that their bond can never be broken by time or lies. Rifleho, a high-ranking Fug zealot, intervenes to reclaim his Slayer candidate through force. Bam draws the thorn, a fragment of a god's power, and the air around him begins to vibrate with godlike energy. With a single strike, the thorn obliterates the shadows and sends Wraithraiser flying into the abyss. The workshop's automated self-destruct sequence begins to count down as the facility starts to tilt. Bam looks at his reunited friends and realizes he no longer has to carry the burden alone. Together, they use a transport ship to escape the exploding workshop just in time. On the deck of the ship, Bam finally gets to speak to his team properly for the first time in years. He explains the threats of Fug and why he had to hide his identity to protect them. Khun vows that they will never let Fug or Rachel separate them again. Far above them, Rachel watches their progress from a hidden monitor, a twisted smile on her lips. She is already planning her next move on the legendary Hell Train. Bam senses her presence and knows that their final confrontation is drawing near. He begins training with the Thorn, mastering its immense power to prepare for the challenges ahead. The team reaches the boarding station for the Hell Train, a place where time and space behave differently. A shadowy guardian of the train warns them that few who enter ever return. Bam steps forward, his resolve unshakable, as he leads his team toward the boarding ramp. The Hell Train itself is a monstrous locomotive that stretches as far as the eye can see. For a moment, Bam remembers the small cave where his journey first began with Rachel. He realizes he is no longer that lonely boy, but a warrior chosen by the tower itself. Rak and Khun stand on either side of him, ready to face whatever gods or monsters await them. The train's whistle blows once more, but this time it sounds like a call to victory. Bam closes his eyes, feeling the shinsu of the tower flowing through him like a calm river. As the train accelerates toward the upper floors, Bam knows his true destiny is finally within reach. No matter how high the climb, he will reach the top and change the fate of the tower forever.